When Jake Morrison became LA's most sought-after personal trainer, clients trusted him to transform their bodies and lives. But when his steroid addiction and financial desperation consumed him, he began using deadly supplements and accidental equipment failures to eliminate wealthy clients and steal their inheritances through forged wills. Before we get to this wonderful story, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The early morning California sun cast dramatic shadows across the state-of-the-art equipment at Elite Fitness Studio in Beverly Hills as Jake Morrison prepared for his most important training session of the week. At 34 years old, Jake had built an exclusive personal training business that catered to Hollywood celebrities, tech billionaires, and wealthy socialites who paid premium prices for his transformative fitness programs and discretion about their personal struggles with weight, addiction, and self-image. Jake's client list read like a who's who of Los Angeles high society, featuring A-list actors preparing for demanding film roles, business executives seeking to maintain their competitive edge, and trophy wives desperately trying to preserve their youthful appearances in a city obsessed with physical perfection. His training methods combined cutting-edge exercise science with personalized nutrition planning and supplement regimens that promised dramatic results in impossibly short time frames. Elite Fitness Studio reflected Jake's attention to detail and commitment to excellence, featuring custom-designed equipment worth over $2 million, private training suites for celebrity clients who demanded absolute privacy, and a fully equipped medical facility where Jake administered vitamin injections and monitored his clients' physiological responses to intensive training protocols. His walls were covered with before and after photos of successful transformations, testimonials from grateful clients, and certificates from various fitness organizations that had recognized his innovative training methodologies. But beneath Jake's dedication to physical fitness lay a dangerous combination of steroid abuse, gambling addiction, and financial desperation that had driven him to begin systematically murdering his wealthiest clients while making their deaths appear to be tragic accidents during intense workout sessions. "Good morning, Jake," said Victoria Blackwood, his 7 a.m. appointment and one of Los Angeles' most prominent real estate heiresses. Victoria was 62 years old and worth approximately $40 million, having inherited a vast property empire from her late husband 5 years earlier. She had been training with Jake for 8 months, seeking to regain the physical strength and confidence she had lost during her husband's prolonged illness and death. "Good morning, Victoria," Jake replied with the enthusiastic energy that had made him legendary among Beverly Hills fitness enthusiasts. "I've designed a special cardiovascular program for today that will help accelerate your metabolism and increase your endurance levels. We're going to push your limits and achieve breakthrough results." Victoria had become one of Jake's favorite clients, not because of her dedication to fitness, but because of her substantial wealth and her recent decision to update her will following a cancer scare. Jake had carefully cultivated their relationship over months of training sessions, positioning himself as both fitness coach and trusted confidant who understood her fears about aging and mortality. What Victoria didn't know was that Jake had been gradually poisoning her with anabolic steroids and experimental supplements while researching her financial situation and developing a plan to forge her will and inherit a portion of her estate after her death. Jake's transformation from legitimate fitness trainer to calculating killer had begun 2 years earlier, when his own steroid abuse had escalated beyond recreational use into a dangerous addiction that was destroying his health and judgment. His massive gambling debts to organized crime figures had reached over $500,000, and his creditors were threatening violence if he didn't make immediate payments on his outstanding loans. The first murder had occurred when client Robert Chen, a tech entrepreneur worth $80 million, had threatened to expose Jake's illegal steroid distribution network after discovering that the vitamin injections he was receiving contained banned performance-enhancing drugs. Jake had staged Chen's death as a tragic accident during bench press training, using equipment he had sabotaged to cause fatal chest injuries that appeared to be the result of mechanical failure. Chen's death had generated substantial life insurance payouts and inheritance transfers that Jake had managed to intercept through forged documents and fraudulent legal claims. The success of his first murder had convinced Jake that wealthy fitness clients represented ideal targets for systematic elimination and financial exploitation. Over the past 18 months, Jake had murdered 6 additional clients using various methods designed to appear as training accidents, medical emergencies, or supplement-related health complications. "Jake, I need to discuss something important with you," said Dr. Michael Rodriguez, the sports medicine physician who provided medical oversight for several of Elite Fitness Studio's high-profile clients. Dr. Rodriguez had been growing concerned about the unusual number of serious injuries and medical emergencies that had occurred during Jake's training sessions over the past year. "Of course, Dr. Rodriguez," Jake replied, though he felt the familiar surge of anxiety that accompanied any medical scrutiny of his training methods. "What can I help you with today?" Dr. Rodriguez pulled out a thick file containing medical records and incident reports from Jake's recent training sessions. "Jake, I've been reviewing the medical data from your clients, and I've found some alarming patterns. Several of your clients have shown signs of steroid use despite claiming they're only taking the supplements you've provided. Additionally, the injury rate among your clients is significantly higher than industry standards." Dr. Rodriguez's investigation represented a serious threat to Jake's criminal operation, as the physician had access to medical evidence that could expose both the illegal steroid distribution and the suspicious pattern of client deaths. "Dr. Rodriguez, I can assure you that all the supplements I provide are completely legal and safe," Jake said carefully, while mentally reviewing his options for eliminating the physician before he could report his findings to medical authorities. "Some clients may be using additional substances without my knowledge, and high-intensity training does carry inherent risks that I always discuss with clients before beginning programs." Dr. Rodriguez wasn't satisfied with Jake's explanations, having worked in sports medicine long enough to recognize the difference between legitimate training injuries and suspicious patterns that might indicate professional negligence or criminal activity. "Jake, I'm particularly concerned about the recent deaths of Robert Chen and Margaret Walsh. Both showed signs of steroid toxicity at the time of death, and both died during training sessions that you were supervising." The physician's direct mention of specific victims and their toxicology results confirmed Jake's fears that medical investigators were beginning to identify the actual causes of his victims' deaths rather than accepting them as training accidents. Jake's method of dealing with threats had become refined and ruthless, using his knowledge of human physiology and access to dangerous substances to eliminate anyone who posed risks to his criminal enterprise. "Dr. Rodriguez, those deaths were tragic accidents that have haunted me ever since they occurred," Jake said with apparent emotion, while discreetly reaching for a prepared syringe containing a lethal dose of potassium chloride that he kept hidden in his medical supplies. "Perhaps we could discuss your concerns in my private office where we can review the medical records without disturbing other clients." Dr. Rodriguez agreed to move their discussion to Jake's office, trusting the fitness trainer who had built a reputation for professionalism and client safety. He had no way of knowing that Jake was planning to kill him, using the same methods that had successfully eliminated previous threats to his operation. Jake's plan involved injecting Dr. Rodriguez with the potassium chloride during what would appear to be a routine medical consultation, then staging the physician's death as a heart attack brought on by the stress of his medical practice. The drug would cause immediate cardiac arrest while being virtually undetectable in standard autopsy procedures. But Jake's carefully planned murder was about to be complicated by the unexpected arrival of someone who had been specifically trained to investigate suspicious deaths related to fitness and sports medicine. Detective Lisa Park of the LAPD's Organized Crime Division had been conducting a discreet investigation into suspicious deaths and injuries at high-end fitness facilities throughout Los Angeles. Park specialized in cases involving organized crime infiltration of legitimate businesses and had developed expertise in identifying patterns of violence disguised as accidents or natural causes. The detective's investigation had been triggered by reports from insurance companies who had noticed unusual patterns of claims related to training injuries and deaths at expensive fitness facilities. The concentration of serious incidents at Elite Fitness Studio had attracted particular attention, Due to the substantial insurance payouts and inheritance transfers that had followed several client deaths, Park had been conducting surveillance of Jake's facility for several weeks and had noticed suspicious activities, including late-night meetings with known criminal associates, unusual medical procedures being performed without proper oversight, and financial transactions that didn't match normal fitness business operations. "Mr. M. Morrison, I'm Detective Park with the LAPD," she announced as she entered Elite Fitness Studio carrying a warrant for inspection of the facility's medical records and client files. "I need to speak with you about some suspicious deaths and injuries that have been reported at your facility." Jake's reaction to the detective's arrival was immediate panic, as he realized that law enforcement was investigating activities that could expose his entire criminal operation. His reputation in the fitness community and connections to wealthy clients had always protected him from scrutiny, but the presence of a police detective with a search warrant suggested that his criminal activities had attracted serious official attention. "Of course, Detective Park," Jake replied, struggling to maintain his professional composure while abandoning his plan to murder Dr. Rodriguez. "I want to cooperate fully with any investigation. Client safety is my highest priority, and I'm always willing to review our procedures to ensure we maintain the highest standards." Dr. Rodriguez looked relieved at the detective's arrival, having begun to feel uncomfortable about Jake's insistence on moving their discussion to a private office. The physician's medical training had taught him to recognize signs of unusual stress and anxiety, and Jake's behavior had been increasingly concerning throughout their conversation. Park explained that her investigation involved several suspicious deaths and serious injuries that had occurred during training sessions at high-end fitness facilities, with particular focus on cases where clients had substantial life insurance policies or significant assets. "We're specifically interested in facilities that provide medical services or administer supplements without proper oversight." The detective's description of her investigation was focused on exactly the type of criminal activity that Jake had been engaged in, creating an immediate threat that would have required him to eliminate both the detective and Dr. Rodriguez if circumstances had been different. "Detective Park, I can provide you with complete access to our medical records and safety protocols," Jake said, his anxiety increasing as he realized that the police investigation had progressed far enough to include search warrants and formal questioning. "Every supplement and medical procedure we provide is completely legal and administered according to established safety guidelines." Dr. Rodriguez interrupted the conversation with information that would prove crucial to the investigation. "Detective Park, actually, I've been documenting concerns about unusual patterns of steroid use and suspicious injuries among Mr. Morrison's clients. Several recent deaths have shown signs of drug toxicity that doesn't match the supplements they were supposed to be receiving." The physician's revelation confirmed Park's suspicions about illegal drug distribution and dangerous medical practices at the facility, providing the evidence needed to expand the investigation into potential murder charges rather than just professional negligence. Jake's response was swift but ultimately futile, as he realized that his criminal empire was about to be completely exposed by the combination of the police investigation and Dr. Rodriguez's medical evidence. "Detective Park, Dr. Rodriguez, I think there may be some misunderstandings about normal sports medicine practices," Jake said desperately, while considering whether he could somehow eliminate both witnesses to his criminal activities. "High-performance training inevitably involves some medical risks, and client deaths are tragic but sometimes unavoidable consequences of pushing physical limits." Park's law enforcement training had taught her to recognize when suspects were becoming desperate and potentially dangerous. Jake's behavior clearly indicated that he was involved in criminal activities and might attempt to harm witnesses to protect himself from prosecution. "Mr. Morrison, you're under arrest for suspicion of murder and illegal distribution of controlled substances," Detective Park announced as she drew her service weapon and called for backup assistance. "You have the right to remain silent and the right to have an attorney present during questioning." Jake's reaction to his arrest was a mixture of rage and disbelief as he realized that his carefully constructed fitness empire was collapsing around him. His attempts to maintain his professional reputation were undermined by the mounting evidence of his criminal activities and the testimony of witnesses who had observed his suspicious behavior. The investigation that followed Jake's arrest revealed the full scope of his criminal activities and the sophisticated methods he had used to murder clients while stealing their assets. Forensic analysis of Jake's facility revealed extensive evidence of illegal steroid distribution, dangerous medical procedures performed without proper licensing, and deliberate sabotage of exercise equipment designed to cause fatal injuries. His detailed financial records showed a pattern of insurance fraud and inheritance theft that had generated millions of dollars in illegal profits. The investigation also uncovered Jake's connections to organized crime figures who had been using Elite Fitness Studio as a front for money laundering operations and drug distribution. His gambling debts had made him vulnerable to criminal recruitment, and his access to wealthy clients had made him valuable for targeting high-net-worth individuals for various criminal schemes. Most disturbing was the discovery of Jake's detailed plans for murdering additional clients, including forged wills and fraudulent legal documents that would have allowed him to inherit substantial portions of their estates. His victim list included several prominent celebrities and business executives who had trusted him with their health and safety. Jake Morrison was ultimately convicted of 7 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit organized criminal activity, illegal distribution of controlled substances, and multiple counts of fraud and forgery. The conviction sent shockwaves through the Los Angeles fitness community and prompted comprehensive reforms in personal training certification requirements and facility oversight procedures. Elite Fitness Studio was permanently closed, and several other high-end facilities were investigated for similar criminal activities. Dr. Rodriguez received recognition for his courage in exposing Jake's criminal activities and helped develop new medical oversight protocols for fitness facilities that provide supplement administration and medical services. His expertise in sports medicine became crucial for identifying similar cases of client abuse and professional misconduct. Victoria Blackwood and other surviving clients required extensive medical treatment to overcome the effects of the illegal steroids and toxic supplements Jake had administered. Many suffered lasting health consequences from his experimental drug protocols and required ongoing monitoring for potential long-term complications. Detective Park's investigation became a model for identifying criminal infiltration of legitimate businesses and led to the discovery of several other organized crime operations that had been exploiting high-end service industries to target wealthy victims. The case prompted comprehensive changes in fitness industry regulation, including mandatory background checks for personal trainers, medical oversight requirements for facilities that provide supplement administration, and enhanced reporting procedures for suspicious injuries or deaths during training sessions. Jake's conviction also led to increased scrutiny of inheritance and insurance claims related to deaths that occurred during high-risk activities, with new protocols designed to identify cases where beneficiaries might have had motives for causing the deaths of policyholders or estate owners. The organized crime connections revealed during Jake's investigation resulted in dozens of additional arrests and the dismantling of several criminal networks that had been using legitimate businesses as fronts for various illegal activities targeting wealthy individuals in Los Angeles. 5 years after Jake's conviction, the fitness industry continued to implement safeguards designed to protect clients from exploitation by unethical trainers who might abuse their positions of trust and physical authority. Elite Fitness Studio's former location was eventually converted into a community health center that provided free fitness programs and medical services for low-income residents, symbolically transforming a site of criminal exploitation into a resource for genuine health and wellness. The families of Jake's victims established a foundation dedicated to promoting ethical practices in the fitness industry and providing support for people who had been harmed by unscrupulous health and wellness professionals. Their advocacy efforts contributed to significant improvements in industry standards and consumer protection measures. Dr. Rodriguez continued his work in sports medicine while serving as an expert witness in cases involving suspicious training injuries and deaths. His expertise helped identify several other criminal fitness operations and contributed to the prosecution of additional predatory trainers who had been exploiting vulnerable clients. The personal trainer who had promised to transform lives through fitness had instead used his expertise to end lives for financial gain, but his crimes had been exposed and his victims had found justice through the dedication of investigators who refused to accept suspicious deaths as mere training accidents. Jake Morrison's final workout had been in a prison gym, where he would spend the rest of his life serving his sentence for the systematic murder of clients who had trusted him with their health, safety, and lives. His case served as a permanent reminder that positions of physical authority and trust could be exploited by criminals willing to betray the fundamental principles of health and wellness. The empty training floor where Jake had committed his crimes stood as a symbol of the trust that had been violated and the lives that had been destroyed by his systematic abuse of professional relationships and client vulnerability. The personal trainer's final workout had ended in criminal conviction and life imprisonment, proving that even the most sophisticated criminal operations could be exposed when dedicated investigators and ethical professionals worked together to protect innocent people from exploitation by those who would abuse their positions of trust and authority. Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know what you think of this story in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos.